But let's go back to Dracula's Guest, because as a story, and what I want to tell you, and I just want to read to you guys off of a printout of the book, is some of the little pieces, an example of what I found in the typescript that was taken out, so to prove to you that Dracula's Guest was once part of it. So here's a
please do.
Here's a piece that says, now this is where Jonathan Harker is complaining of a sore throat. He says, she started back and pointed to my throat, where the rubbing of the wolf's tongue still left red. Her eyes flashed angrily with bitter disgust before the cruel smile returned to her red lips, and she grew close to me. This is one of the women in white that are coming in to have the blood exchange with Jonathan. And he's saying, my throat is sore from the rubbing of the wolf's tongue. Now, you know this, Rick, and I know this, and many of other listeners that have read Dracula's Guest know darn well that this is the big wolf at the end of the story when Harker is thrust outside of the tomb in the massive snowstorm. He's going to die unless he gets help and stayed warm. He's going to die from hypothermia, and this wolf appears, lies down on top of him, and keeps him warm by licking him with his file-like tongue, but keeps him warm. And so the question is, why didn't he bite him? Was this one of Dracula's sort of minions, the wolf that is just keeping him alive until he can get to Transylvania, looking out over him, sort of a guardian angel, let's just say. So that was crossed out of the novel, but it certainly appeared in the actual story. Another one, this is when Count Dracula and Jonathan Harker are speaking during that first dinner that Harker has. He says, Dracula seemed very interested, especially at my adventures in Munich, when I told him of the wolf which had laid on my chest, saving my life in the cold, and whose howling seemed to direct the soldiers to where I was. He appeared quite excited. So again, another reference to that scene in Munich. And then another time when he was in the carriage and he was given a cross from one of the fellow travelers in the carriage, he said, as I looked at them, I unconsciously put my hand to my throat, which was still sore from the licking of the gray wolf. So again, 3 more cases where you see crossed out that were references to things that happened with the gray wolf. And then one more, though, the first night that Harker got to the castle, he actually said, I didn't sleep well, though my bed was comfortable enough, for I had all sorts of queer dreams of the dead house at Munich, which gets more strange and terrible whenever I think of it. It all seems so strange and mysterious. So this is a reference, Rick, to chapter 3, the Munich dead house, which you wonder, why do people go to dead houses? What is the the inspiration for that? You've got to understand that in the Victorian era, people were sort of drawn to cemeteries and mortuaries. Cemeteries because it was a nice park-like atmosphere, and you could commune with the spirits of your lost loved ones. People also went to the dead house because they were the family members. People were laid out on these tables, marble tables, for 2 or 3 days before they could be buried, and that's obviously to avoid premature burial. Yeah, and so they wanted to make sure they were actually dead. So that, generally speaking, they had 2 things to have to worry about. One, the smell. So it was like lots of flowers. And number 2, they had either their foot or their hand attached to a wire that went up to the top and a bell, so that if the body moved, the bell would go off, and then the guard would come and see what the heck's going on. So it was usually
the origin of the bell ringer.
Exactly. Yeah. So in Bram Stoker's life, we do know that Henry Irving was quite interested in being like the most incredible actor. The guy took his acting very seriously. He also wanted to look at what dead bodies look like. How do I play a dead body lying on the stage? So he was known to go and visit the dead houses, the mortuaries in different places.
Oh.
Did Bram and Irving go to the one in Munich? There's a good chance, we just don't know, but he certainly had his character go there. And that's, you know, that's how detectives like me and Basang find these things, and then cross-reference to the notes, cross-reference to the typescript, and you look at Bram's life and Irving's life. Yeah, that makes sense. And it made kind of logical sense for the story sequencing to be taking the train, you know, arriving into Munich, a day and a half or 2 days spent there before the train then leaves, because it didn't leave every day off to Klausenberg, to Romania. So that's some of the early stuff, Rick.
If you enjoyed this video as much as I hope you did, please consider hitting the like button so that this could reach out to more people like yourselves. Really appreciate that. And if you want to keep in touch with the channel, please also consider subscribing and hitting that notification button. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one. And while you're waiting for the next one, why not check out this video? Because that's the one that YouTube thinks that you're going to like next. Have a great day. Stay dark, stay well, stay hungry.